Hi, my name is Weronika Wojtek, and I'm a researcher at the University of Minho in Portugal. And the title of my flash talk is Towards New Generations of Autonomous Intelligent Systems, an approach based on mathematical modeling of brain functions. Our approach is based on neural field models, and neural fields are models of large populations of neurons in the cortex. The most commonly used formulation is the one introduced by Amari, and it is given by this equation here. The localized solutions to this equation are called bumps, and they emerge in response to external input applied to the neurons in the field. We can see an example of bump solution here. So we apply some input to the field and the bump is triggered. It is then self-sustained in the field even when the input is gone, thanks to the recurrent interactions between the neurons in the field. The shape of this bump solution is determined by the connectivity function W, which means that it cannot reflect input characteristics such as strength or duration. It can only reflect the input position. This is a well-known shortcoming of classical neural field models, which we address by introducing a new model that we create by coupling second field to the system. So now we have a model that consists of two equations. Now this formulation provides a two-dimensional bump attractor determined by a continuum of positions and amplitudes. In this model, the input features like strength or duration are reflected in the bump profile, so the model can be used as a robust neural integrator. Here we see an example where I apply two inputs with different strengths and with different widths, and the bump shape reflects the characteristics of the applied input. We analyzed the model both mathematically and numerically, and for the details, you can see our publications. Neural fields are often used to model working memory, and the main idea here is that each bump represents a memory of one item. Here, I would like to very briefly discuss two differences between the Amari model and our new integrator model. In the Amari model, when the bumps are created at short distances, some strong interaction effects happen. So the bumps could either merge into one bump, or they can repel each other, or like in this example here, the middle bump is annihilated by those two bumps on the sides, so the memory of this middle item is completely lost. Those interactions are not that strong in our model, which means that the memories are represented more faithfully. In a sequential stimulation protocol, in the Amari model, only the first input triggers the evolution of the bump, and the next inputs, even though they have the same strength, they are not strong enough to create new bumps because of some extra inhibition present in the field. In our model, this inhibition is reduced, which means that each new input is able to trigger a bump, which gives us higher capacity in working memory tasks. Those are just two examples, and for more details, you can see our publication. We used our model to implement an interval reproduction task. This task was inspired by a study of monkeys, where monkeys were trained to first measure and then reproduce a time interval. An interesting finding of the study is that at the end of the measurement epoch, the level of activity of neurons encoding a given interval predicts the slope of ramping activity during the production. We implemented those findings using our model. So first, at the end of the measurement epoch, the bump amplitude is proportional to the sample interval. Then this is used in the production epoch, and we can see here that there is a very good match between the produced intervals and sample intervals. We plan to incorporate those results in our ongoing studies on temporal cognition for robots. And now I move to the robotics applications of our model, and the first one is a pipe assembly task. In this task, a robot first watches a human assistant grasping a series of pipes and hand them over to an operator. The goal of the robot here is to learn the serial order of handovers and then substitute the human assistant in the joint task. And the integrator model is used to form an activation gradient that encodes the sequential order of memorized events. We can see this experiment here. So first, robot learns by observation the series of 4 handing overs. So it watches human handing over 4 pipes, and those pipes are represented by an activity bumps in the memory field. At the end of demonstration, this field contains an activation gradient that represents all 4 pipes. During the joint execution of the task, the robot uses this gradient to recall the elements of the sequence from the memory. So in this case, it uses it to perform the 4 handing overs in the correct order. Second robotics application is a simulated material handling system in which a mobile robot transports parts between workstations. The goal for the robot here is to search at 2 workbenches where a required part may appear with certain probability in a fixed period of time. The integrator model here is used to incorporate short-term memories of past choices and past successes in the decision process. This endows the robot with the matching behavior, which is well-established law in cognitive psychology. We can see this experiment here. The decision field is pre-shaped with 2 peaks representing the location left and right. There is a competition between the 2 peaks, and the one on the right wins this competition, so the robot makes a decision to go to the right. This decision is stored in the choice integration field. And there is an object to pick up here, so this is stored in the success integration field. And those 2 fields, success integration and choice integration, are used to pre-shape the decision field in the next trials. So they influence the future decisions of the robot. This endows the robot with the matching behavior, which means that the fraction of choices made to any option will match the fraction of total reward earned from that option. We tested 2 other strategies, namely most likely strategy and win, stay, lose, switch strategy, and our approach outperforms both of them. To conclude, our model is able to self-sustain input-induced activity at any level, and it can be used as a robust neural integrator. The model was applied in some challenging robotics tasks, showing that it can be used in real-world applications. Those applications are not limited to the domain of robotics. We use the model also for developing a learning system that allows an intelligent vehicle to learn sequential and temporal information about daily driving routines. To read more about this work, you can check out those publications. And this concludes my talk. Thank you.